what's the view on the performance of the Gehlot government on law and order? 42% of the respondents say he's done a good job. 50% of the respondents in this C-voter poll say the Gehlot government has not delivered on law and order. 63% of the Congress voters think he's been good. 29% think he's been bad. But amongst BJP voters, those who think the performance has been bad is naturally much higher. Will these populist schemes work? Because that's the Gehlot government's big hope. Load the voters with freebies and maybe that will work. 46% of the overall respondents say yes, 45% say no. Rajdeep, on the question of law and order, it seems that more people think his government has fared badly, and on the issue of populist schemes working, opinion seems to be quite divided. Gehlot has a track record of leading his party to a disastrous defeat at the end of 5 years in power.
Yes, Rahul. The fact is, Ashok Gehlot's last 5 years, if we look at his 5 years, you've got to divide it into two halves. The first 3 years were a complete disaster, 2.5 years. Why? Wiped out in the Lok Sabha elections, including his son getting defeated. The Sachin pilot revolt takes place in 2020, 2021. Most of the country was battling COVID, 2020 and 21. Ashok Gehlot was hemmed in both within and outside for much of the first 3 years. I think the Gehlot government has really woken up post-October when he actually, in a way, challenged the Congress High Command and said, I'm not going to become Congress President, I will stay on as Congress Chief Minister. In the last 6 to 8 months, many of his schemes, which had even been initiated earlier, like Chiranjeevi, which according to me is a very good scheme, the health scheme, but the gas cylinder, minimum income guarantee, which he's just put out, schemes for women, all of this has come generally in the last 6 to 9 months. Therefore, what happens is that if once anti-incumbency has settled in, all you can do through these schemes is reduce it. And that's what the survey is showing. The survey clearly is showing that there are issues which Mr. Gehlot, like law and order, remains vulnerable on. There are issues like a 500 rupee gas cylinder, which people are appreciating. But is it too little too late? Did the Congress hemorrhage in Rajasthan for much too long? And I believe that the real crisis, Rahul, is not so much Ashok Gehlot personally. Most people you look at in Rajasthan don't target Mr. Gehlot the person. He's seen as relatively affable. But the MLAs have got away in Rajasthan with, dare one say, according to local sources, local level corruption. And that has not been stymied because Ashok Gehlot was always conscious, if I take on the MLAs beyond a point, will my government remain or not? So I think those first 3 years affected him, and he's tried to make a comeback in the last 2 years. I fear it may be too late.
In the show, Shahzad's been holding up this so-called Lal diary, the red diary, which comes from Rajendra Gudha. So there are two questions on that in this poll. One is, will the Gudha episode harm the Congress? 58% of the respondents say yes, 40% say no. Should he have been sacked? Was this right? Was this wrong? 45% say yes, he should have been sacked. 46% say he shouldn't have been sacked. And what the BJP has done is they really run away with this issue. He actually comes from the BSP originally, so he's not really a Congress loyalist in that way.
One point, that he has not been kicked out of the Congress party even now. He continues to be in the Congress, and he's not the only person. By the way, this red diary is not the only episode. Bharat Singh, an MLA, has written that the Khanan mining minister, the mining minister is the biggest mining mafia. And these issues of corruption have been going on in every department every year. In transfer posting, there was such a racket that when Govind Dotasra said to teachers that does racket take place, they said in front of his face, yes, it takes place. And even the other scams that have taken place, the paper leak scam is the biggest scam, and Rajdeep needs to be counted on 2 points. See, Rajdeep, you said that Mr. Gehlot is managing his popularity. You know, right now, in the sense that after 2.5 years, or these schemes are trying to make him look a little better than the first 3 years. Let me tell you, if Mr. Gehlot is so popular, then why is the Congress not declaring a sitting CM as their face for the campaign? You know, it is not just BJP versus Congress. It is BJP versus Congress versus Gehlot. Gehlot is on his pink poster coming out of the PR boxes, and that PR box is putting only him on the poster with a pink color. There is no Congress hand, no Congress Neta, no Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi on it. So Mr. Gehlot is actually fighting even the Congress party.